Hi, my name is Akiva Goldman, and I'm an attorney with Goldman and Associates. We do a lot of work concerning divorces and separations and annulments, and today I'd like to talk to you about those topics because the firm handles those with great proficiency, and I'd like to discuss them with you now. We get a call all the time. Should I get a divorce? Should I get an annulment? Should I get separated? Well, let's talk about the last thing first. Legal separation is not required in the state of Michigan as a prerequisite to getting divorced. You want to separate, separate. You don't want to separate, don't separate. Either way, you can get a divorce without that. There is a case called a suit for separate maintenance. That is a legal separation, a separation recognized by the law, and it's kind of like a divorce, but not exactly. A person can file for separate maintenance, and during that proceeding, we're going to handle all the issues: custody, visitation, support, property division, alimony, debt resolution, all of it, just like a divorce. The only thing is, when it's all over, you're not divorced. You're still married. Everything's been separated. Everything's been accounted for. But if you were to marry somebody else, you'd now have to go get divorced. Now, why on earth would somebody get a legal separation? Well, generally speaking, there's two people that I've run into over the course of 33 years that were eligible for legal separation. It's one kind of person who is a very devoutly religious person, and the church might frown upon a divorce, so that kind of person might not want to get a divorce, but might go without legal separation. That's one issue. The church won't let you get a divorce, so you go for separate maintenance. A second kind of person who might want to get this is a person who's concerned about health insurance. In the old days, it used to be that if you got divorced, you lost your spouse's health insurance. That might be covering you. However, if you only got separated, they still allowed you to keep it. Now, if you're a person who needs health insurance and the plan still allows you to maintain it under conditions of a separation, then you might want to pursue a separation. The truth of the matter is, most health insurance carriers have gotten wise to that, and they don't allow you to continue the coverage either with a divorce or a separation. So that probably won't work. If you want to maintain your spouse's health insurance, you're going to have to follow the COBRA rules, and you'll be entitled to maintain it in that environment. But typically, a separation is not going to work for you nowadays anyway. Then the issue becomes, and it's a very popular topic, should I get an annulment? A lot of people are under the misguided impression that somehow an annulment has to do with time. If they've only been married for a short time, they can get an annulment as opposed to a divorce. They somehow think that that's better, or that is more cost effective, or there's less involved. Well, let me tell you something. First of all, it's not better, it's not cost effective, and there's more involved. An annulment is not based on how long or short you've been married. It's got nothing to do with that. A person can be married one day and still need a divorce. I'll give you an example. You marry someone, the two of you decide you're not getting along, it's only been a day or two, guess what? That's a divorce, it's not an annulment. An annulment is based on fraud. In other words, you marry somebody and you find out that person is actually still married to somebody else, that's a fraud, that's an annulment. In some cases, you marry somebody and you find out that the person can't have children because they deliberately concealed from you the fact that they have those fertility issues, and that was a big issue for you. That's potentially a fraud. You marry someone believing that it's a heterosexual relationship. You find out that it's not because the person's actually homosexual. That could be a fraud. You marry somebody, you decide you don't like him. You don't like the way she cooks. You don't like the way he's a slob or whatever. That is not an annulment, folks. That's a divorce. You're going to have to get a divorce. And the truth of the matter is, it's easier to get a divorce than an annulment because it's easier to prove nothing than to prove fraud. Why do I say nothing? We're a no-fault divorce state. You don't have to prove a thing to get a divorce. All you got to do is say, Judge, I want a divorce. Marriage broke down, I want a divorce. You don't have to explain it. You don't have to show grounds for it, nothing. If you want to pursue an annulment, though, you're going to have to prove the fraud. And you're going to have to present evidence on the record of what you were told, what the fraud was, and whether or not the fraud is a significant fraud to support an annulment. So in that environment, usually when most people call, they'll think they can get an annulment because it's been a short-term marriage. I've heard people say, well, it's less than 6 months, so can I get that? There's no 6-month rule. That's not how it works. It's all about fraud. Generally speaking, in most cases, I got to tell you, if you're not getting along, that's going to be a divorce. And it's not going to cost you more money than an annulment. It's not going to take less time. It's going to be about the same anyway. So there's no real savings in getting an annulment. and you're probably not eligible for one. If you have questions about separation or annulment or divorce, circle back to us and we'll be glad to help you out.